Hello. Today's episode number 142 of the Professor Slots podcast discusses how to cheaply evaluate if the slot machine you're playing is a winner. Plus, in this episode, I'll be covering the current state of slot machine casino gambling in the great U.S. state of New Hampshire. Thank you for joining me for the Professor Slots podcast show. I'm John Friedel, and this is a podcast about slot machine casino gambling. It is where I provide knowledge, insights, and tools for helping you improve your slot machine gambling performance. In case you missed it, on my last episode, I briefly went over my 9 winning slot strategies from my weekly live stream Q&A session on YouTube. Further, I reviewed Nevada slot machine casino gambling in 2021. I hope you enjoyed listening to my last episode as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Remember to sign up at professorslots.com/30days to register for my online course for slots enthusiasts. 30 days to play slots smarter and win, including how to leave a casino with your winnings. Here's the audio recording of my latest live stream Q&A session. How do you decide if a slot machine is worth playing? Your favorite casino has so many slot machines. How do you decide which one is a winner? There's 2 ways. First, figure out which of my 9 winning slot strategies work at your casino. I summarized each of those approaches to winning on last week's live stream. The only other way to learn if your chosen slot machine is a winner is to play it. But how? Do you need to lose your shirt, metaphorically speaking, or to learn if it's a losing machine? Spending all your bankroll trying to win is what most people do, and even then, they're not sure. Earlier this year, from my annual survey, if only I had a bankroll, I might have won. That was the answer I got when I asked them the question, what is the one thing you think is holding you back from having more successful slots play? Need more bankroll was the number one answer. The second most common answer was knowledge, just that one word. And the third most common answer was picking winning slots. So I'm here today to help you address the most common reasons slot enthusiasts think they're held back from more successful slots play. Sound good? Good. But first, we have a few donations already. Well, that was loud. Thank you, Chuck, for your donation. He says, good morning. Very much appreciated. He makes regular donations, and it really helps the show for me to be successful and be able to put these on. So thank you so much, Chuck. Keep an eye on things. And lots of people saying hello in the live chat, but let's continue with the topic for a little bit. Let's continue. So, hello, slots enthusiasts. I'm John Friedel, and this is the Professor Slots live stream and podcast episode. Today, we'll be going over how to evaluate slot machines. As I cover early on in my online course, 30 Days to Play Slots Smarter and Win, first you need to know what your gambling goals are. Otherwise, how will you know if you've reached them? The most common in order of popularity are entertainment or having fun, comps or complimentary gifts, and making a profit. Making a profit is third. But I've gone to casinos with fans. There's a misunderstanding out there. I've gone to casinos with fans who have told me their goal was to make a profit. And it was obvious to me watching them play slots that it was instead entertainment. I mean, they wouldn't mind winning, but they were there to have fun. And that's okay. As many of you have been discussing lately on my community sites, which are just blowing up on Facebook, which is, great. Now that you're learning how to win at slots using my strategy at your favorite casino, only now do you realize how limited your experiences have been at winning. Why? Because of your difficulties with leaving with your winnings. So first you had the win, then you had the winnings, where you found out the struggle of being able to leave with your winnings. So first, it's a step-by-step process. We won't even get into taxes. So call it a lack of practice or discipline issues, but being able to leave after winning, it isn't easy. When asked how they did it, some who were successful say they won and literally ran from the casino. I'll have an upcoming live stream, likely next weekend, which will be all about leaving with your winnings. It'll be about more than wearing running shoes during your next casino visit. But beforehand, let's get you some winnings, shall we? And we have another donation. Thank you so much. $2.99 donation. Thank you. And let me share that. And he says, Billy says, great advice. And I think those are 4-leaf clover symbols. Excellent. So thank you. Right. So most slots enthusiasts, let's get into this. Most slots enthusiasts randomly pick which slot machine they'd like to play. When they do that, here's an example. Let me share this. Oops. This is my website for my online course, courses.professorslots.com, and you can go here. We'll talk a little bit about that later. So if you go to, I have an article on every state on my website, professorslots.com, and you go here, and I have one for New Jersey, professorslots.com/NJ. That's the shortcut. So it's the usual contents. I do this for every state, been doing it for years, basically do one a week, and it takes me 13 months to get through all of them. So there's a section on relevant legal statutes, whether you can own one privately, what is the gaming control board, but in a separate section after casinos, map, all that, there is a payout returns section where we can talk about where, links to where you can find that from the New Jersey Gaming Commission or the Division of Gaming Enforcement under the state government. So, and I have some examples from when I last did this. This is coming up to be shown again. So if you click on the gross gaming revenues, which I will save for you by doing this, you'll go to the website, and most recent one is June. If you click on that, you'll come to a PDF. And this is for Bally's, and there's another one for Borgata, and there's another one for Caesars Atlantic City, and there's another one for Golden Nugget. But if you check each one of these, and I'll just keep it at the top. Actually, I wonder if there's a one at the bottom that would be for all. No, they don't do all. That's right. I remember I had to do the one for all for you when I showed this stuff earlier in the year. Okay, so here is the win-loss percentage. Basically, it's the casino win. So you have to subtract it from 100%. And for slots, you have 9.7%. And for table games, everything except poker, it's 11.5%. So what is that? 11.5, 100% minus 11.5. So the return on table games on average is 88.5% in New Jersey at Bally's. I know it's closed, but now it's Premier. And someone asked about Oregon, professorslots.com/OR. But I'll give that to you now, and you can go take a look, and that's everything that I've been able to find on Oregon. Okay, not to be distracted here too much. So 9.7 casino win percent is over 90%. It's 90.3 player win percent for slot machines in New Jersey. And you can see that you, on average, you win more playing slots than you do table games, with the possible exception of poker. But there we don't have, let me see if I can get this going. I have a long page on Nevada. And if you go to my Nevada page, professorslots.com/NV, remember I have one for every state, territory, and the federal district. Whatever there is to know, I found it, put it there. And this is my Nevada article. And if you go down to, again, there's a control board. There's plenty of casinos in Nevada. I just tried to list the links to each a map, and then you have payout returns, and you can click on statistics and publications under gaming revenue information to come to the gaming board. So under gaming revenue information. So you can click May, which is the most recent month that's been out. It provides the month of May summary, but also provides in that report the 3-month summary and the 12-month summary, the last 3 months and the last 12 months. Okay, so if you click on that, you come to a PDF. And this is the first one. There's a title page and all that. And then they list, they do this by county, and within counties, it might be Las Vegas Strip, Las Vegas Downtown, North Las Vegas. They break these up, and then within some of those, they'll break it up by the revenue of the casino. And so they break down the statistics, and this is statewide. Again, I think I've shown this in the past. Can I do this? No, I can't. There is a current month, May 2021 here, and then there's a summary for the last 3 months and the last 12 months. So we're going to stay over in this side. Top portion here is table games, including poker, and slot machines by denomination that are offered. And so this column right here, is there a way I can do this? I think there's a way I can highlight this for you, which would be right. So we are interested in this column for May. And if you go over a little bit to win percent, this win percent is, again, like New Jersey. They do it similarly. It's not your win percent, it's the casino win percent. So the player win percent would be subtracting these from 100. And I'm trying to point out here that the returns for all denominations statewide for slot machines is over 90%. 90% return. This is the average. If you go into a casino and you play slot machines and you randomly pick slot machines, you'll have an average result. And the average result is over 90%. But if this had a negative number, and negative numbers are in parentheses, you would, and there isn't any, you would actually be over 100% and making money. Right. So, so if we look at this column, you can see that everything under the different slot machine denominations, including the average of nearly 93%, is what you get from slot machines. But on every one of these table games, including versions of poker, it's under 90%. Some of them are under 80%. Some of them are under 70%. So yeah, on average, let's see, right, get out of that and get out of this. So my point here is that if you are an average player, then you lose, and you lose more often on table games. Now, I can hear, so we have, hi, Jen. Yeah, you're late. Glanced at the live chat, which is always a distraction. All right. So, so let's talk about getting you some winnings. Most slots enthusiasts randomly pick which slot machine they'd like to play. But when they do that, as in New Jersey returns I showed you, slots have better returns than table games. That's worth thinking about. I'm not trying to take a stand or be controversial. It's the data. And also in Nevada. So you just don't think it's just happenstance for 1 month in New Jersey. It's the data. From Nevada as well, where each return is separated by machine denomination as well as table game. Again, I pointed out all table game returns are double digits, while all slot machine denominations are single digit only, meaning slots have player returns over 90% and table games don't. This excludes the sports pool, which I don't really consider a table game, do you? But they had to put the statistics somewhere, right? Now, I can just hear the objections. Some of you say table games have better odds of winning than slots, but this data doesn't show that. They do. On average, table games such as poker are skill-based games. You can win, even become a profitable professional gambler by being skillful at poker. And that's my point. That's average players at gambling. There's average players at gambling, and then there's non-average skilled players. So I'll say it again. Most slots enthusiasts randomly pick which slot machines they'd like to play. And so they lose on average. But maybe you've learned enough so far from my videos, website, book, and online course to no longer be an average player. I tried to do that to you on last week's live stream when I summarized my 9 winning slot strategies, but maybe that was too advanced, too fast. My strategies are certainly not the first thing I talk about in my online course. That there's lots that comes first. So, and just to share that quickly so you can see what I mean, if I click on courses.professorslots.com, you can see the sign-up page, and you can see the course curriculum, and these are the sections. It's a 30-day course, and slot strategies are the 5th course. If I open that, each day has a technique, and then with it comes tasks and resources to help you understand that after I explain it. So day 17 through day 25 are the 9 strategies. And so this is later in the month. This is like starting just after the middle of the month, after 17 days into it. You can do this a lot faster, but there's so much to say beforehand, so you even know what I'm talking about in the strategies. So let's get back to where we are. Didn't miss anything. Okay. Right. So again, there's lots that come first, but if you haven't taken my course, or you're just, you're new to my content, and a lot of people are every day, I get so many people finding me like, where have you been all my life? And I just say, well, I'm working as hard as I can to get the word out. And I'm sorry, it's after your trip to Las Vegas. I have an article about what to do on your Las Vegas trip, and now you know why it didn't work. Whoa. Jan has donated $51. I'm sorry, I'm a little choked up. It's wonderful. She says, love this topic. Thank you, John. Thank you, Jan. Texas Tootsie is her handle on YouTube, but her name is Jan, and she said it's okay to share that. Okay, wow, thank you. Right, so like talking about how to pick a winning slot machine, you need to first have a discussion about how did you sat down on a winning slot machine? How do you learn that? How do you evaluate one? I had to have a little pre-discussion just to get you on point. Okay. So I'm not sharing anymore. Good. If you haven't taken my course, or you're one of the thousands of people that have joined my main Professor Slots enthusiasts, I think we're over 3,000 now members. That's 1,000, 1,500 since like the beginning of the month. Thank you so much. Word of mouth seems to be working. I can't advertise. Not allowed to do that. Prohibited topic according to Google advertising guidelines. But many of you are starting to find me and talking to each other at casinos and pointing out where I am. So, but let's move on with turning you from being an average slots player into more of a skilled slots enthusiast. So you can get away from those average returns from all these casinos. And let's talk a little bit about what average is and how do you sit down. Thank you, Jen. I see questions. I'm trying to reach a good point to take a break from the topic so I can answer them. Please hold on. It is a Q&A session. We might have we'll have time to go over it. Last week it was a little more of getting through 9 strategies. Even summarized took almost the full hour. Okay, so you walk into a casino and you pick a slot machine. Now, if you use my strategies, it's not random. The strategies are meant to be insightful, to give you some skill, And we go over those one by one as I talk about this, but that takes you away from being average. The more you use them, also they all depend on common business practices. They're counter reactions. They're counter approaches to something the casino wants you to do to for them to make money. But I figured out ways to do something else, although it's hard. Do something else, which will actually let you win money. And so my most popular video, and maybe why a lot of you are here, is my 5 spin method. And there's a couple from the last year that I had questions on the first one. So I made another one to try to answer things and clear it up. And then another short series that's probably going to be stable for the next year or so before I add anything else, because I really dug into it after all those questions. Anyway, the 5 spin method is to make up to 5 bets on a slot machine. And if you win anything at all, any non-zero amount, move on. And if you reach 5 bets, because you haven't won anything, move on. And do this for 20 machines and 20 random machines, and see if the casino gives you anything at all on half of them or more. And it's good if it's half of them. It's great if it's 75% of them, and it's awesome if it's close to almost all of them. And the people have been shocked by this. I'm pretty skeptical and I took my $500 and I'm like, someone was telling me yesterday, took my $500 and might have seen the comments on, if you remember the Facebook group, took my $500 and now I have $2,300. But then, this live stream is about what happened next, which was they weren't wearing running shoes. They didn't run. And I think they ended up leaving with $100. And there's feelings about that. And you're like, oh, and, you had the thought about going to the high limit room, and then you tried again later. Explain the whole story to me. I felt like maybe we should talk about that a little bit. But on the 5 spin method, the latest playlist on that you can find on my YouTube channel is to not randomly select slot machines, but to pick ones that are highly visible from a distance. If you know my strategies, that's strategy 9. Location. Those that are at find the main intersection. I don't mean to go on about stuff we talked about last week, but it was so quick last week. But play machines, find the biggest intersection in your casino, aisle this way, aisle that way, intersection, and see if they have like a short row of slot machines, because this is where we're going here. If they have a short row of slot machines that point right at the intersection. Paula knows what I mean. Jan knows what I mean. I've gone, Chuck knows what I mean. I've gone with two casinos with them. It's not something I can do a lot of, but I have gone with each of them, and I pointed these out, and we've won on them. But it's a matter, and I'll talk to you about how to figure out which of the 4, not all 4 machines pointed at that intersection were winners. One of them was. And what I'm going to explain shortly is how do you figure that out? How do you decide after sitting down on a slot machine whether or not it's a winner and whether or not you should stay? Okay, so if you're not using my strategies, and if you just walk into a casino and you randomly pick a slot machine, let's just make it simple. All right, don't get complicated by combining strategies and all of that. That's more advanced, and I kind of went over that last week. And it's an advanced topic. Let's keep it simple. You walk into a casino. You play a slot machine. Just pick one, sit down, play. How do you play? How do you determine, without using my goodness ratio from the pay table, how do you determine by playing it if it's a winner? And here's how. Sit down, put some money in. It doesn't matter how much. I like to just put $100 because it helps me understand what my return was. If I get $83, if at the end of all this, I get $83, and I'm like, 83% return. But if it's, but you can do, $5 at a time, $10 at a time, $20 at a time. Put some money in. Let's just avoid using a player's card. We can talk about that too. It's a topic people love to talk about. I have past live streams on that. So you sit down on a slot machine, you can put your card in, you have to put some money in, or you can use free play, and there you go. Make 10 bets. Now, I try to protect every opportunity I get. I try to protect your money. All right. I want you to not, we're all gamblers. I don't know why I try. We're all gamblers, but I am trying to protect you. So minimum bets. Make minimum bets just to see if that machine is a winner. If it is a winner, do what you want. Make your usual bets. But to see if it is or is not a winning machine, make minimum bets. Now, on nickel machines, that might be 45 cents because I think the minimum credits is like 9 now. That's what I've seen. On penny machines, which is the most machines in the casino, I might as well talk about those. Those are the ones that will be at an intersection. If you on those, it might be 30 cents. Somebody was telling me there's 30 cents. New Zealand was telling me they still have 1 cent bets. But a lot of them are 68 cents and 88 cents minimum bets. Okay. That's how much money that you'll need to spend to determine if it's a winning slot machine. I have an annual survey. It's well done by now. I got it earlier this year. And one of the things people said is, I've got $100. It used to be when slot machines had coins, they would bring a roll of quarters, $20. And that's what they have. Is it $20 or $10? I think it's $20, right? But now, one of the things casinos are doing, and I hadn't noticed myself until recently. I've been doing a lot of max bets over the years, and it's just kind of a strategy. And my goodness, they're raising minimum bets. You see, penny slots aren't penny slots. They're just one credit is 1 penny, but you can only bet maybe 30 cents, except for you New Zealanders for now. Okay, so minimum bet. Let's say you're playing a nickel machine. Its minimum bet is 45 cents. Make 10 bets. All right, that's just under $5, $4.50. Make 10 bets. Count. Or you don't even have to count. Did you win any non-zero amount? Was it a bonus? Was it not a bonus? Doesn't matter. If you make 10 bets and they all come back as big fat 0, walk away. That is not a machine you want to play. Now you might say, oh, but the next one could have been a winner. Yeah, I know it's gambling, but let's make a decision. It's not good enough for you. Tough love, right? Tough but true. So walk away. Make 10 bets, minimum bets. If you don't win anything at all, walk away. Now, if one of those bets is a winner, 30 cents, continue. Make another 10 bets. Right? If it's 0 on the first 10, you're out. But if it's anything at all, do another 10 minimum bets. See what you get. If they're all 0, well, you got that one win from the first 10. And so if it's 0, out. If the second 10 bets that you make, minimum bets that you make, is 0 across the board, you're done. Tough love, leave that slot machine. You just wasted $10, $9 with 20 45-cent bets. Sorry, you lost $10, $9. Okay. But if you win in the first 10, which meant that you played the second 10 bets, so you have 20 bets in and you won, did you win enough? You need to really consider. I sat down with Chuck and we played a machine, and we got 4 machines in a row that were facing an intersection. Nothing on the first one, something on the second one, but nothing on the only on the first 10, but not the second 10. And how was it, Chuck? I think the third one was the one we got like 2 bonus rounds. It was just crazy. It wasn't anything like the other 2 in this short row. It was facing the entrance, actually, at Ameristar Casino in Missouri. Okay, so Lake Charles, Ameristar Lake Charles in Missouri. And we had to sit there and say, okay, we found a machine where we won 2 bonuses. Is it good enough? What do you think? Would that be satisfying? You have to make a second evaluation. Your first evaluation at 10 bets was, did I win anything at all? That's pretty straightforward. At 20, it's harder. You have to say, is it worth continuing? Not waiting for wins, but the wins you got. Is it a worthwhile slot machine for you to play? Was it enough wins for you to say, there's some possibilities here? Not maybe it could be in the future, but actually was it? Now, I will share with you that Chuck and I sat there and we saw the 2 bonus rounds and was like, well, it's obviously better than the first 2 we played. But I really would have preferred 3 bonus rounds. I would have preferred to have gotten the bonus games 3 times. 2 times, that's not what we want. That's not what we wanted, and that's the decision you have to make. If you make a decision to continue to play, the next thing you do is make 80 more bets. That's the next decision point. 10, 10, 80. At the end of that total 100 bets, that is when you make your third evaluation. So at 10, did you win anything at all? At 20, you have to decide whether it's worth going to 100 or not. Your decision based on your wins, not what you think might happen, but what did happen. If it isn't good enough, walk away. Okay, so then you make 80 more bets. So for checking my notes, for a 45-cent nickel machine, 45-bet nickel machine, that's $45. But you don't play it after 20 unless you think it's worth doing. 30-cent penny machine, 30-cent bets on a penny machine, $30. 68-cent minimum bets on a penny machine, $68. 88-cent minimum bets, $88 after 100. But you stop at 10 or 20. Each one of those, is 10 is $4.50 for a nickel machine, and etc. So you can do the math. So you do have to spend money to see if it's going to win, but there's no sense in wasting it. And so you could spend up to $88, going to 100 on a machine that you decided at 20 was worth. It had some winnings, so that $88 at the end actually won't be $88 spent, because if you follow this, then you won something in the first 10 bets, and you won something or more than something nice in the second 20 bets. Do watch out for, when you make the evaluation at 20 bets, do watch out for just having like one big win. You really want to have multiple wins. Hey, I won a hand pay. It's a great machine. No. I mean, congratulations on the hand pay, but it doesn't mean it's a winner. It just means that you've got a hand pay. You're looking for it to spit out wins. Then you have to, like we decided 2 bonus rounds was not enough. 3 was. So you want to see it giving. And that's how you decide at 20. And you go to 100, and then you do the whole same thing. You're like, I've made 100 bets, 1 in the first 10, 1 in the second 10, enough for me to go to 100, 80 more bets to get to 100 bets total. And then you decide at that point, hey, the hand pays have been great. Or, hey, I don't know what happened in the first 10 bets, in the second 10 bets, but my goodness, it all stopped. You might even say at 50 bets, if it's going poorly at 50 bets, you just cut your losses and run. All right. If you have in those 80 bets, if you have a long streak of not winning anything, but that's getting more into the subtleties. And that's what I wanted to mention. I have more to say that's a little more complicated, but I think this is a good time to sort of check in. And I will close this. Right. I have more to say, but this is a good time for a break. Okay, good. Right. How is things going in the live chat? Thanks for sticking with me this far, but this is a question and answer session, and sometimes people have questions. Last week, it was a little slow because I'd been off for a month, and I'm getting a lot of, Larry says, he's in the UK. Glad you're back, and sorry for my loss. Yeah, I had I lost 2 cats in June, and with becoming profitable in May, because I'm working hard and trying to have a business after having been laid off as an aerospace engineer last year. I'm trying to take this. Thank you, Jan. I don't see anything here. Maybe other people can comment on the quality of the video stream, live stream today. When it's rainy and thunderstorms, sometimes being in farmland does not make for the best live stream. Apologize if it's me. It might be you, but it could be me. I've seen some difficulties. Okay. So questions, right? So I already answered the question. I'll work through them. Getting to you, David. Any page for Oregon? Yes. Again, professorslots.com. Your state, territory, or federal district. I'm only doing United States gaming jurisdictions, states, territories, and federal district at this point. And I need to do like Canadian provinces and more, but I haven't. Okay. Jeannie says, I could show you pictures of me winning on Wheel of Fortune slots, but this is more a discussion of strategy 9. For me, I have, this player appeal. I enjoy playing Wheel of Fortune for the memories. But, when people say they like to play, Dragon Link, Lightning Link, whatever, I don't. That's a way to randomly select a slot machine. It's not like every Lightning Link is a winner because you won on one of them somewhere else. That's a player appeal. Player appeal might come from having won, but it might come from I like the colors. So that's a way to randomly select. It's a huge misconception. I'm glad that you enjoy. You might as well get something. If you're losing money, you might as well play something you like. How's that for a clip? The Wheel of Fortunes that I played were in the high limit room, and you can see them from a distance. You could see the big wheel turning from a distance, and that's why those were winners. And it's my strategy 9, location, location, location. Not every one of the row of 4 in the back of Cincinnati's Horseshoe Cincinnati, back when it was Horseshoe, were winners. One of them, 2 of them were, and those are the ones I won on. Again, a row pointed in a direction that can be seen from a distance, figure out which one is the winner. But again, that's strategies. We talked about that last week. I'm glad that people there have won jackpots. Consider why. Howdy, Alex. Jan came in. Alex is going to Vegas in a month and San Manuel Casino next week. I'm going to do your strategy 5 hits and quit. Good luck with that. Strategy 5 is it's the one after a holiday, or is it the one after promotions? Is there a holiday next week? No. Morning after. Okay, let's see. Hi, Steve. Steve's here from Green Bay, Wisconsin. And Alex is in South California. I could tell from the casinos you mentioned. I'm looking over here because this is where the live chat is. I probably apologize for breaking connection. Nadia, hello. Right back at you. Marianne, and it's your mom's birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday to your mom. Tell her I said hello. And happy birthday. And she wants to celebrate at Cache Creek Casino. I'm excited to apply your strategies, and I love this topic too. Good. I'm glad. I try to find the good ones, the good topics that people ask about, and just try to answer questions. And Jan says that she's taken the course, and there's a lot of O's in that. So good. Let's see. Yeah, I took Paula to a casino for the first time, and she's like, it's harder than you think to walk away when you win anything. Absolutely. It's like this big deal. Unfortunately, if you don't win for a while, you really don't have experience about what to do, the whole feelings. I was terrible at it. Honestly, I had my biggest jackpot was $27,000. That was before taxes were taken out. It's like 4:30 in the morning, speaking of strategy 5. And I hesitate to even tell you how much I actually left with. More than half. Not much more than half, but more than half. It's important to have a plan. Important to have running shoes. Okay. David says, hi, John. Do you always... and I can share this. Why don't I share this on the screen? David says, Rolling Stones fan, I see. Hi, John. Do you always max bet using your 5-spin method? When I'm testing it, I do. Or when I don't. When I'm testing it, I like minimum bets because I don't know if the casino actually has a business practice of giving out tastes. Until I learn that, I just like to save money. Now, once I do it, and it's sometimes hard to tell from my videos if I've done the test. I try to say these days, but I have some old 15-second shorts out there where it's like, wow, you're doing it and you're winning on high limit machines. But I thoroughly tested that casino to see if they gave out tastes. And then I bet my normal amount, which is what I recommend to you. At the time, my normal amount was 3 credits on a $5 machine or 2 credits on a $10 machine in the high limit room. That was what was normal for me. So after you have some success, if you have some success, because some casinos don't do this, just like I went to Delta Downs in Louisiana 4 weeks ago. I got back like yesterday, 4 weeks ago, and they didn't have strategy 9. The location, the highly visible slot. They didn't even have any angled to be seen from a distance. It was like walking into a desert. And so, you have to check, and you can spend your money however you want to. But my job is to say, don't until you know more. Test first. Okay. I kind of went on about that. It's all right. It's a passion for me. Nadia, if you have a question about Delaware casinos, join my professorslots.com/FBDE, or just go to Facebook and search for Delaware slots enthusiasts and join that group where you'll find a bunch of people from Delaware who go play slots locally, and ask them directly, hey, last night when you went, what happened? So I have that for every state. And why do I have it for every state? Because if I went to 2 casinos a week to go to all 1,000 casinos in the United States, it would take me 10 years. So when I get the question, hey, John, have you been to my casino recently? I'll be like, no, but I know 380 people who do, and you can go check them out on, whatever. They're all starting to grow. I think Vermont is the only one is it Vermont? I think it's Vermont, the only one that I don't have anybody. I think there's a state law about restricting it or something. And Maine is a little low on the numbers. Alaska, lately I've been getting a bunch of people in Hawaii. Does the denomination matter at all on 5-spin method? Okay, so it doesn't matter whether or not to determine whether or not the casino has the 5-spin method. What matters is, you can find out that they do, but they've turned it down so much, it's not making you money. Now, that might not be bad, because you could look around at the other people playing who are just like losing their shirts. And you're like, well, I'm not losing my shirt. It's all slowed down. I'm still losing money, but not as quickly as everybody else. And in some circles, that's called winning. So see if they have it, 5-spin method. Then bet your normal bets. If you want to improve your return, whatever it is on your 5-spin method, again, location, end of row, slots with a view, figure out which one is in a row 4, pointed angle directly at an intersection, that sort of thing. You mock your casino, find those things. But another way you can do this is go to those reports I showed you. That if you're in one of the 6 states that have slot returns broken down by denomination, play one of those. It's a refinement that you might or might not have. A lot of you won't, and see which one has the best odds, which denomination has the best odds, and play that one to give yourself a little edge. And that's what's great about those. Now, wherever you are, penny slots are just. We saw that penny slots have the lowest return nationwide. There's very few places that might in 1 month have it not be the lowest return. However, you have a casino with 3,000 slot machines and 2,550 are penny slots. You don't really have a choice. But again, these reports show the average. So when you have that many penny slots, so this is my new point of view. I used to say don't play them, but now if your casino, if that's all they have, then play the ones that are set with higher odds. And we talked today about 10 bets, 20 bets, maybe at 50 if things aren't going well, and 100 bets to see if you've got a winning machine on your hands or not. And you'll learn early if you don't make it past 10 bets. Okay. Is it best to use? This is all the common questions. I understand that I'm going to get questions that are asked every live stream. Is it best to use the player's card? It is fine to use a player's card, and that is so unconvincing, right? Nobody is like, what? No, I could say that it would be illegal for casinos to do any such thing by you putting a player's card and then changing the odds on the machine. You know that, and it's not convincing. So let me try something that's a little more convincing. The technology doesn't exist to do that. I've been reading the annual reports from slot machine manufacturers. They don't have real-time analytics. Now, maybe those are just all big words, but if they can't analyze what they're doing, they don't know what they should do. And they're about 4 hours behind, 3-4 hours behind. They're not real-time. So you put your card in. Sorry, I need to put that away. And here's the question we're asking now. Is it best to use a player's card? The technology isn't there. And when the technology does come, if you've heard of Cray computers, you have to have these supercomputers, which are really expensive. I mean, it's $1 million a year just to pay for the air conditioning to run them. They get so hot, but all the calculations that they're running, so real time, the technology doesn't exist to make that happen. And sometimes that's a little more convincing than the totally true statement that it's completely illegal to do that. The third thing I say is, does it really matter? I mean, after I got my third bread maker, what was the point? I have this chip dip tray, which I just never used, but it was great to have. It's like porcelain. I'm sure it was kind of expensive, but not the $10,000 I spent to get it. Actually, it was a joke. A bunch of us had one. We were leaving in the elevator, and a woman next to me says, "Oh, I see you got your $10,000 chip dip tray." And I'm like, "Yep, I do." So a couple of high limit players talking to each other. So if you don't want the comps, I don't like to travel. They send me away and take care of me. So, I'll go on my own if I want to go. If you don't want the travel comps, if you could maybe do without a meal or two, being a little personal for myself, what is it they can give you? Free slots play? I enjoyed getting $250 worth of free slots play twice a week. Every time I went to the casino, I took $3,000. So what was I trying to use a card for? Now, if your gambling goal, the number 2 is most common after entertainment, but before making money, is to have comps, and then you have a decision to make. So if you don't want comps, if you don't care for them, third wonderful bread maker. I ended up giving them all 3 of them away to family. Right. So. Devin applied some strategies at Vegas last week. Resorts World is really variable on the machines, but beautiful place and lots of celebrities. Yeah, didn't they just open? Yeah, they just opened. So be interesting to see what happens. If you go to professorslots.com/ABC27, that's professorslots.com/ABC27. You'll see my interview with the evening news, ABC Evening News, local news, in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I help them understand Pennsylvania returns for Penn National, which was a local casino without any, the next nearest ones are like in Philadelphia, which is a ways away, and how they had wonderful returns the first year. And they've never been that high again. Miami Valley Gaming is very similar here in Ohio, but it was the first month. And Horseshoe Casino, when it first opened in 2013, was great the first year, pretty good the second year too. But that's when you have like a casino being opened where you have to sort of wean people in. Maybe it's been previously built on previously was a cornfield, and people in the state are like, what, a casino? But that's not true for Las Vegas. But it's the first month when a casino opens is good. A little chaotic maybe because people are still getting trained up, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's more of a table game advantage play. But the slots, they're trying to let people win. The people who built the building, the investors, actually have a line item in their budget, give money away to slots people. But then it's a budget, and they cut it off. And so I don't know if it's going to be the first month at Resorts World, if they even do that, because they are in Las Vegas, so things are a little different from everywhere else there. But that's an opportunity, perhaps, maybe the first year. But again, Las Vegas, one of the deep researches I need to do, the stats are all available for all those casinos back in time for decades. And what I'd like to see is see if Las Vegas is typical, like Penn National in Pennsylvania, Miami Valley Gaming and Horseshoe Cincinnati when it was still a Horseshoe in Ohio, and all the other places I've looked at and said, wow, they really cranked up the returns that first little bit. And I'd be interested in seeing if that's also true for Las Vegas. All right, moving on. Richard, doesn't each coin bet amount have its own random number generator? Yes and no. The random number generator applies to each denomination. So if you change, there's two ways to change the amount that you bet. One, on multi-denominational machines, or maybe going to a different machine, is the amount of one credit. And so when you change the amount of one credit, no matter how many credits you bet, that is a change that you're talking about. But but all slot machines in all states are go through a quality check. That machine, that specific machine, not the game, but that machine, before being installed into a casino, is run through a quality check to make sure the electronics are good. And one of the checks that they do is same odds, no matter what credit you bet on a denomination. So they check on a penny machine that has, I guess it would be, penny machines don't have like one bet, 1 cent, 2 cent, 3 cent, whatever, say nickel machines that start at 9 bets, but whatever number of credits can be offered for a particular denomination has to be fair, has to be the same. Can't vary on the odds depending on the number of credits bet. But if you change how much you bet by changing the denomination, well, that's what you're talking about. So there's two things going on there, one where it applies and one where it doesn't apply. Okay. Ooh, let's say after VP. Okay, good questions. We got another 5 minutes. So I'll get through as many of these as I can. Let's say after, and if you're a member, I only have tier 1 left that I'm using. If you have a member, if you're a part of the membership, then I'll answer your questions first. And VP, PN, let's say after 100 minimum bets, you are $100 up. Do you stop or do max bets? Okay. Is that satisfying to you? What's your gambling goal? Is your gambling goal to make money? Or is it to be entertained? Because from what you just said, you're breaking even. And that means do it again. Go home when you get tired. You're not making money, but maybe you don't want to. Your gambling goal matters. It's probably the most important thing. How do you know when you're being successful? Plenty of people I know would be like, man, what a waste of time. And other people would like, wow, my $100 is going to last me hours. So depending on your bankroll as well, if that's satisfactory for you some way, then, continue. And by continue, you can either continue with minimum bets, because that might be what you do. That might be exactly what you do normally to try to make your $100 last as long as possible. But you may also be like hey man, I bet $2 bets. Well, switch to $2 bets, see what you get when you do that. Bet if you are, evaluate at 100 bets that it was good for you, then bet normal and see what happens. If it wasn't good for you, walk away. I can't make that decision for you. Depends what your goal is. Okay. Chuck mentions a excellent. There's a money management techniques. I've posted a bunch of them. Some are from before the trip. Yes. Okay. There's a bunch of money management techniques. I have a playlist on it. You can find it on my YouTube channel. But one of the money management tips is a loss limit. But there's a second, and that's a lot of people should have that. Whatever one you use, everybody should have that. But we were talking earlier about, oh no, now I've won. I'm not wearing my running shoes to run away. So what do I do? And so that's one expression that is used for that situation, that money management technique, is preserving gains. So you've won. Now what? And Chuck makes a very good point of pocket half of it. You win $100, put $50 in your pocket, play with the $50. And in fact, if you want to use, one of those things over, let me point in the right direction, right there. I have a gamble box and what is it? What's the other one? Winners Bank 2,200. Get yourself one of those, and if you really, stuff the money in there, leave the lock at home, and think about making a video about how to break it open in a casino parking lot using a 2x4 and driving over it with your car. I should make that video. I don't know if I will. I don't mean to mock anybody. Annie Henderson. One of the things that I've heard recently is the station casinos in Las Vegas have the most number of slots. There's, real estate is at a premium on the strip. So off the strip, which usually has better odds, you can see for yourself by some of the stuff that I post today and going there yourself. If you have more machines, you have more opportunity and maybe more intersections in the casino to decide on if you want to use strategy 9. So that's what I know about casinos off strip. I've been to Henderson and I've been to casinos there. I had a meeting with the Air Force when I was an aerospace engineer. We went out there and it was a 1.5 day long meeting. At noon we got, and the second day we got out and everybody kind of crowded around me afterwards because word came out that I was Professor Slots, and they crowded around me and they're like, "So, John, would you like to maybe over to the casino? Our flights are tomorrow." And I'm like, "Oh no, my flight's at 3:00. Why did I not even consider this possibility? Oh, I'm so sorry." And they're just like, "Well, next time." And then I was laid off. Let's see. I am over. So I apologize that I am over. Hello, Super Queen B45, and goodbye. Yeah, that's basically it. In the description is a link to my online slots course, which is going great. And in a couple of weeks, I'm going to raise the price by $100 for the non-beta version, which I'm working on preparing now for that upgrade. So deadline's coming up, and I'll let you know on the day of. And I guess that is about all I wanted to say today. So everybody, have fun, be safe, make good choices. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Remember to sign up at professorslots.com/30 days to register for my online course for slots enthusiasts, 30 days to play slots smarter and win, including how to leave a casino with your winnings. This is the next segment of the show on slot machine casino gambling. Here I provide a brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district, emphasizing by far anything of interest to slot machine casino gamblers. Up next is New Hampshire slot machine casino gambling in 2021. Here goes. New Hampshire slot machine casino gambling does not exist. However, there are 27 locations offering keno, bingo, and table games licensed through charitable gaming regulations. The minimum legal gambling age in New Hampshire depends upon the gambling activity. For land-based casinos, it's 21. For poker rooms, bingo, the lottery, and pari-mutuel wagering, it's 18. New Hampshire has banned commercial casinos, although the state allows licensed commercial bingo halls. Simulcast betting exists, but there's been no live racing since 2009. Tribal gaming is non-existent as New Hampshire has no federally recognized American Indian tribes. From New Hampshire Gaming Regulation Chapter 287-D, quote, "Any game involving the use of a slot machine or any other device in the nature of a slot machine," end quote, is prohibited per state gaming regulation. However, the charitable gaming industry has spread across the state over the last 40 years. Nearly 400 charitable organizations receive funds through 27 small-scale venues such as malls and pubs. Larger sites include defunct former pari-mutuel racetracks. However, these state gaming regulations require fundraisers offering table games of chance to provide a significant portion of their revenue to the charities they are sponsoring. Next up is a usually short statement about slot machine private ownership, which I have included in case you live in this U.S. state and are considering owning a slot machine. Here it is. It is legal to own a slot machine in New Hampshire privately if it is 25 years old or older. New Hampshire's Gaming Control Board is the New Hampshire Gaming Regulatory Oversight Authority, providing oversight to the New Hampshire Lottery Commission and the Lottery's Racing and Charitable Gaming Commission. The New Hampshire Lottery, established in 1964, is the oldest state lottery and the second oldest U.S. lottery. The oldest lottery in the U.S., established in 1934, is the Puerto Rico Lottery. In this section, I'll discuss New Hampshire gambling establishments. There are 27 large and small sites offering charitable keno, bingo, or table games in New Hampshire. The largest charitable site in New Hampshire is Cheers Poker Room and Casino in Salem. The second largest charitable site is the River Casino and Sports Bar in Nassau. New Hampshire currently has 13 licensed commercial bingo halls. It also has 16 licensed games of chance facilities. There is no tribal gaming in New Hampshire due to the state having no federally recognized American Indian tribes. As an alternative to enjoying New Hampshire slot machine casino gambling, consider exploring casino options in a nearby state. Bordering New Hampshire is, to the north, the Canadian province of Quebec. To the east, Maine and 18 miles of shoreline with the Atlantic Ocean, the shortest ocean coastline of any U.S. coastal state. To the south, Massachusetts, and to the west, Vermont. To visit any of my articles on these U.S. states, simply visit ProfessorSlots.com, followed by its two-letter postal designation. For example, my Maine slots article is available at ProfessorSlots.com/ME. Are you interested in sharing and learning with other slots enthusiasts in New Hampshire? If so, join our New Hampshire Slots community on Facebook at ProfessorSlots.com/FBNH. All you need is a Facebook profile to join this private Facebook group freely. There, you'll be able to privately share your slots experiences as well as chat with players about slots gambling in or near New Hampshire. Again, use this convenient link I've created to go directly to our group on Facebook, ProfessorSlots.com/FBNH. Join us. Under a charity provision in state laws, poker rooms and casino clubs can partner with charities to donate a portion of their revenue from table games of chance. Nearly 400 charities attach themselves to these 27 licensed rooms and clubs. However, these state gaming regulations require fundraisers to provide 35% of their revenue to the charities they are sponsoring. In summary, New Hampshire slot machine casino gambling prohibits casinos along with slot machines, as well as other electronic gaming machines of a similar nature. However, keno, bingo, and table games of chance are available at licensed charitable events. New Hampshire has neither tribal gaming nor cruise ships to international destinations. Over the last year, there has been little change to the slots gaming industry in New Hampshire. Remember to sign up at ProfessorSlots.com/30days to register for my online course for slots enthusiasts. 30 days to play slots smarter and win, including how to leave a casino with your winnings. Part 1 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast will include a live stream Q&A session on YouTube. Remember, my weekly Q&A session on YouTube is on Saturdays from noon until 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Bring whatever slots questions you have, and I'll do my best to answer them. An easy-to-remember link to my YouTube channel is youtube.com/ProfessorSlots. Feel free to stop by anytime during my hour-long live Q&A session. Part 2 of the next episode of the Professor Slots podcast is another brief overview of the current state of gambling in a U.S. state, territory, or the federal district. Next time, I'll be talking to you about the great U.S. state of New Jersey. That's the end of another great episode of the Professor Slots podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Show notes for this episode are on my website at ProfessorSlots.com/episode 142. I plan to have the next episode come out very soon for you, where I'll have more amazing content for the show. Until the next episode, have fun, be safe, and make good choices. Bye.